It's 6:31. I'd like to begin this meeting. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is the moment of silence. I would like to dedicate this moment of silence to Laura Nelson Rogers and 3 members of the American Legion Post in Homer Glen, John Borla, Mike Donovan, Frank Russell, and all of those lives lost in Texas. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason.
Present.
Trustee Reinders.
Present.
Trustee Lepore.
Present.
Trustee Muller.
Present.
Trustee Schaller.
Present.
Mayor Knightsky-Troicki.
Present. Next is community recognition. Seeming we have none. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, can I get an approval of the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Mason, Trustee Lepore, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next is approval of minutes, March 12th, 2025 Village Board meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Reinders?
Second.
Trustee Schaller, was that you? Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Schaller.
Aye.
Trustee Muller.
Aye.
Trustee Mason.
Aye.
Trustee Lepore.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any public comment this evening?
I see none.
None. Okie dokie. Wow. All right, Village Manager, you're up.
Moving right along.
We were a minute late. We got to catch up.
First off, I'd like to thank everybody who worked at the fest. It seemed to be very successful. We had our fest committee wrap-up meeting last night. A few things were discussed, but overall it went really well. It was hot out there, everybody knows, but fortunately we didn't have any incidents to speak of. I'd really like to thank the committee as a whole, all our sponsors, our volunteers, our residents, and our entire staff. They worked very hard out there in the heat and did a fantastic job, so I'd like to thank all of them. We did have a couple issues that arose, mainly with young individuals on dirt bikes and electric vehicles that tried to disrupt the event. So I asked that parents kind of know what, if you're the owners of these type of vehicles, keep an eye and know what your kids are doing, where they're going. They're still cruising around the whole neighborhoods and everything. Somebody's going to get hurt. I'd also like to introduce our new planner, Dana Kahn. Please stand up.
Welcome.
She started this week, and we welcome her on board. That concludes my report.
Thank you. We will now move on to the trustees. Trustee Lepore.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to echo what Joe said. Homerfest was a really fantastic event. It was really well planned. I'd like to thank all the volunteers and everyone who put so much effort into the event. Fireworks show was fantastic, and looking forward to next year's already. Thank you.
Trustee Mason.
Nothing to report. The fireworks show was awesome. I hope everybody had a safe and happy 4th of July. It is our country's birthday, so I hope everybody had a good opportunity to celebrate.
Trustee Reinders.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would like to say thank you to everybody that participated in Homerfest. We had a great time. Everybody was just loving the music, the fireworks. The kids were loving the rides, the food. So it's just it's really heart-wrenching to see everybody come together and do such a good job.
Thank you. You got a little choked up there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Trustee Muller.
Comes to my village.
I have a little something from the Environment Committee. The Village of Homer Glen supports the Plastic Free July movement. The Plastic Free July campaign is a worldwide initiative to raise awareness of our growing plastic waste problem. Millions of people as individuals, schools, communities, and companies from 177 countries take part in the challenge each year. The goal is to reduce plastic waste. The Village of Homer Glen's Environment Committee wants to challenge our community members to participate in this movement and be part of the solution to the plastic problem. You can visit the village website or the Facebook page to find tips and tricks to reducing your plastic consumption, along with details on how to enter the competition for a chance to win either a $200, $150, or a $100 gift certificate to a local Homer Glen restaurant. Winners will be selected at the August 5th Environment Committee meeting and announced at the August 13th Village Board meeting.
Very much. Is that all you have to report?
Also, the fireworks show was extremely good. I enjoyed it, and I've heard nothing but positive feedback about the fest as a whole.
Nice. Trustee Schaller?
Thank you, Mayor. I go along with everyone's sentiment here on Homerfest, especially all the village employees from Public Works that did all that setup. It was a great event, and I have nothing further.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Just echoing what everybody else said, and just, also thank you to the township for, I saw a lot of volunteers out there also, so thank you.
All right. Village Attorney?
Just briefly, I know that the mayor is planning on talking a little bit about this in the mayor's report today, but we did receive a response back from the Illinois Attorney General's office. The mayor will discuss a little bit more in detail in her report, but what that response was, it was directly in relationship to Illinois American Water, in response to the 700+ residents that participated in the survey, and all of those of you that voiced your concerns and also submitted a multitude of documents that we put together, and through the direction of the village manager's office and the mayor's office and the board, were forwarded over to the Illinois Attorney General's office for their review and consideration. So we do have something favorable to share about that, and the mayor will do so in her report. Secondly, there was a question that was asked to me before the start of the board meeting. We do have an agenda item coming up here on number 7, legislative item number 7, which basically makes it a violation under the Village of Homer Glen Code for any utility-related company to operate its facilities on village property or using village infrastructure without a franchise agreement or licensing agreement in place. I just want to share with everyone that we do have currently in the Village Code, we do have a provision that's similar. That provision is found in Chapter 92, Section 8 of our Village Code. And at the last board meeting, we had mentioned that pursuant to that subsection D, franchises, licenses, or similar agreements, the village in its discretion and as limited by law may require utilities to enter into a franchise, license, or similar agreement for the privilege of locating their facilities on, over, above, along, upon, under, across, or within the village's rights of way. So we already have on the books a provision that says that the village in its discretion can require a public utility related company to enter into a franchise agreement with us. The legislative item number 7 simply says that that the village board, and I'm not getting too far ahead of myself, but it's before the village board today to deliberate on that issue to determine if they want to make an unlawful act in violation of the ordinance for the utility company to actually engage in that conduct without first having a franchise or licensing agreement in place. So just want to make it clear, we're not creating something completely new. It's already on the books. This provision, if the board so authorizes it, will just give the village the ability to enforce, take enforcement actions against companies that are operating within this village without having the appropriate agreements in place.
Thank you. Public safety officials, and just for the record, I did pass out your report to all the trustees.
Fantastic. All right, I'll try to keep it short, but I just wanted to kind of reiterate what Joe said with the distractions that we had at Homerfest was unbelievable. I couldn't believe all the ignorance that was given towards our officers, the civilians that were in that park, was absolutely unbelievable. So I just asked for parents, watch out for your kids. Not everybody's innocent. Neighbors, if they see these kids, please call us. Just because we don't see you on said bike, if we know where you're coming from, doesn't mean we can't write you a ticket. Just let the board know my officers were advised zero tolerance, absolutely zero tolerance. If we see anything going on that we can issue, it'll be issued. Also, there was 2 investigations that are going on from Homerfest, both juvenile related, and I was with the juvenile detectives about an hour and a half ago. So hopefully at the end of her investigation, I'll have an update for you.
Thank you.
Other than that, I'm good.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much, and thanks for all that you guys do. Okay, I do have quite a bit of report today. I'm sorry, this will probably be the longest part of the meeting. So I want to thank, again, the staff, all of staff, especially Dan Waddick. This was his first year taking on Homerfest, and it is a beast in itself. But I have to say, he did an amazing job. Staff and the committee were very happy. Residents were very happy. And he took charge, and he went with it. Next year is our 25-year anniversary, so we really do have some great ideas in the works for next year. So I really want to push the businesses and the residents to rally behind our 25-year anniversary and make it a real big success. I want to take a minute and thank all of the sponsors, so it might take a second. All Around Amusement, Bankston's Pumpkin Farm, Bentonhausen, Booth Orthodontics, Bump and Grind, Busey Bank, Cheston's Pizzeria and Grill, ComEd, Crosstown Realtors, Culver's, Gas and Wash, Home Depot, HR Green, Illinois Landscape, Jaguar, Land Rover, Orland Park, Joey's Red Hots, Kenwood Liquors, Konos Corn Maze, Lakeshore Beverage, Lakota Group, LeBeau's, I think I said that right, LeBeau's, Marion Village, Matrix Basement Finishing, Nick's Barbecue, Pelican Harry's, Sam's Bar and Gaming, Shorewood Home and Auto, Taza, The Phoenix Kitchen, Tillmar Kennels, and Trailblazer Plumbing. Without our sponsors, our fest could not be as successful as it was, so we really do appreciate everyone stepping up and helping us. As I mentioned in the moment of silence, everyone knows what's going on in Texas. I seen a post earlier today that the American Legion Post 208, which is in Kerrville, Texas, was hit pretty hard with the flash floodings. One of their veterans' homes actually moved 50 feet from where it was originally located. If you would like to assist the American Legion in Kerrville, Texas, please reach out to the John Olson Lockport Post 18 and they will direct you how to help. I know that they are receiving a lot of bottles of water and clothing and things of that nature, but I really think they're really looking for something more of the lines of funding to help rebuild their post. I know a lot of veterans are displaced right now in Texas, so if you guys want to pitch in, just reach out to them. The Ability Awareness Committee, what a fun time we had at Homerfest. To those who dunked me over 50 times, I'm not happy with any of you, but it was good for a good cause. We raised $4,872. We were $128 short of our $5,000 goal, but I'm sure our trustees have already reached out and said that they would help us reach that $5,000 goal, so thank you guys in advance. The reason for this goal was to help Amelia. She's a resident in Homer Glen. She's 9 years old, and she started this thing called Amelia's Act of Kindness. She's looking to do an all-inclusive addition to Goodings Grove Park for kids that can't necessarily enjoy all the other amenities at the park that the typical children can use. So her goal was 10,000, she raised 5, so our goal was 5. So I'm happy to report that she's gonna meet her goal, and there will be inclusive equipment at Goodings Grove Park soon. Graffiti on Kickapoo and Onondaga. I was just notified of that this morning. I did reach out to the Parks Department to let them know that there was some graffiti on the street. I want to remind residents, if you see any graffiti, if you see anything, please contact us. Don't feel like you're being a pain or a bother, that we don't have eyes and ears everywhere, so please keep us informed on what's going on. Committee appointments for Homerfest is coming up. That should be at the next board meeting. So if you're looking to join our Homerfest committee, please let me know. Speaking of committees, now that we have Mr. Schaller, Trustee Schaller, on board, and soon we will be appointing our next trustee as well. So there might be some committee changes, so if anybody else would like to join our committees, please let us know. The library is doing a shark bank, which is $2 to buy a bank. You get into a contest, you can win some fun prizes. They have all these different age ranges that you can win, and they have a Mayor's Choice Award, which is pretty fun. So if you guys are interested, or anybody's interested in painting a shark bank, contact the library. And the library is also doing a seed exchange. So if you have extra seeds left over from this year, bring them to the library. You can take some seeds for next year. It's a really cute idea. I just wanted to share that as well. 143rd Street, lots going on there. Thank you to staff, Brett Westcott and Joe, for presenting me with our traffic study that we did. I passed one out to each of you. You guys have that in front of you. We'll discuss that. We're gonna have a meeting soon with the gentleman who knows how to explain this in layman's terms for everybody, and then we'll give a follow-up and an update. Jennifer Bettino-Tarrant, the county executive, had reached out to me, and we have a planning meeting, we're having a meeting coming up to discuss the new findings that we have and all the can't give away too much, but the thoughts that we have coming up, okay? As our attorney had mentioned, we've got great news from the Attorney General. I passed one of these out to each of you as well. I'm going to read this letter so I don't screw this up. This is from the Office of the Attorney General. This correspondence serves as a follow-up to our telephone conversation. Oh, by the way, this letter was sent to Illinois American Water, not to the village. This was to Illinois American Water. This correspondence serves as a follow-up to our telephone conversation on July 1st, 2025. As we discussed, the Office of Illinois Attorney General, the AG, has reviewed numerous complaints from the residents of the village of Homer Glen, parentheses, Homer Glen or the village, reporting unexplainably high water bills, meter errors, and inadequate customer service from Illinois American Water Company. While the rate increases for Illinois American Water and wastewater services remain a cause for concern in Homer Glen and other communities, the issues brought to our attention reflect concerns about inaccurate billing and unaffordability. We look forward to working with you to resolve these issues as detailed below. After reviewing survey results from the village and a sample of bills from 8 Illinois American customers, we discovered several concerning billing anomalies with total usage amounts as well as average consumption and historic customer usage patterns. The village surveyed 794 customers in February of 2025. All of those surveyed, 770 reported a significant increase in their water bill over the last few years. We recognize these customers may be noticing the most recent rate increase of their bills. 685 of those customers, however, reported receiving higher than normal water bills with unexplained usage amounts specifically. We are investigating the root cause of these consumption anomalies. Further, at least 10 of the customers surveyed reported metering issues, including but not limited to faulty meters, inaccurate readings, inaccurate meter installations, and frequent demands from the company to change a meter under threats of disconnection. In addition to the anonymously high usage and problematic meters, the survey results evidence inadequate responses to inadequate investigations of these customers' complaints. 130 customers reported that they asked Illinois American Water to investigate the increased usage issue, and Illinois American Water repeatedly found no problems with customers' systems and had no explanation for the extraordinary spikes. At least 20 customers told the village that Illinois American explicitly stated there were no leaks contributing to their usage spikes, but offered no alternative explanation for the extraordinary usage. 40 customers also reported that Illinois American Water employees did not show up for their scheduled work. Finally, 111 customers reported they received notices from the company threatening to shut their water service off for things other than non-payment of bills. We further investigated these results by analyzing a sample of the bills from 8 customers spanning from 2021 to 2025. Several bills confirmed the reports of unusual spikes in usage, a sampling of which following below, along with account numbers and street addresses for reference. I'm not going to go through those. At the end, it says these are critical billing issues that need to be addressed. We therefore ask that you please call us by July 10th, which is 2 days from now. No, tomorrow. To discuss these next steps. So, once we receive this letter, first I'd like to thank Attorney Pasquinelli because you are the bull 100% behind this. I know I'm a pain and I constantly call you, but this, I want the residents to know this took 20 months. This took 20 months to receive this letter, and we finally moved the needle. So I want to thank all of the residents who submitted their bills, because without those samples, we wouldn't have never made it this far. There is a resident by the name of Bree Gouldy, who is heading up the residents, having resident meetings and discussions. Please contact her. She called the village. We'll get you in connection with her. She's really taking charge, and she's assisting and helping us. This is just one step of the many that this board is taking, and unfortunately, we can't share everything, because if we would have shared this information on what we were doing before, there are people against us and people wanting to see us fail in this. We have investors, we have people that own part of their stocks. We have to keep a lot of things under wraps. So I want the residents to trust us that we are doing everything possible to move this needle even further. So again, thank you, Attorney Pasquinelli. I want to thank this board for diligently doing your homework, the staff who constantly has to answer many emails and phone calls, and again, to all the residents who took the steps to get us to where we are right now. One little thing I forgot, which isn't little, it's actually big. I saw on Facebook that a resident had posted that her son escaped her home as she was doing something else, and another resident had found her son maybe a block or so down the street, and he found the son. The gentleman found her son and brought him back home. Today I found out that it was Trustee Rose Rinder's son, Jeff Huth. So please tell your son thank you on behalf of the village that we don't have a missing child in Homer Glen and that he is home safe. So thank you. I think that is all I have to report for right now. If I remember, I have one other thing about our new trustee appointment, but I'll talk about that in new business. Okay, moving on. Did you have anything to add about Illinois American Water?
Just briefly, I worked very closely with Trustee Mason on this in conjunction with the mayor and obviously Village Manager Joe Baber. Specifically, Amanda List, one of the part-time employees of the village, worked tirelessly in putting together the records that Illinois, or that the AG's office requested for submission. So just wanted to acknowledge all those people. Thank you.
I forgot her, sorry. Yes, she's an important key to this thing too. Okay, so we're gonna move on to a consent agenda. Number 1, consider for approval the accounts payable for the period of June 28th, 2025 through July 10th, 2025 in the amount of $894,766.88. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders?
I'll second.
Trustee Lepore. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to legislation and action items. Number 1, consider for approval a proclamation designating July as Parks and Recreation Month in the Village of Homer Glen. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee
I'll
Reinders,
second.
Trustee Mason. Trustee Reinders, would you please read the proclamation?
Designation of July as Parks and Recreation Month in the Village of Homer Glen. Whereas parks and recreation activities are an integral part of our communities throughout this country, including the Village of Homer Glen. And whereas one of the Village of Homer Glen's many objectives is the establishment of a parks and recreation system that promotes healthy lifestyles by offering active and passive recreational opportunities for residents, employees, and visitors, and enhances the overall image and character of the community. And whereas Homer Glen's parks and recreation opportunities are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in Homer Glen. And whereas parks and recreation activities build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services, and also improve mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas parks and recreation activities increase the community's economic prosperity through increased property values, increased tourism, and crime reduction. And whereas parks and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, preventing flooding, and improving the quality of air we breathe. And, whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of Homer Glen and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month in the United States. And whereas the Village of Homer Glen recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources and is working every day to expand the village's beautiful park system. Now therefore be it do you want to read that part? No problem. Okay. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Homer Glen that July is recognized as Parks and Recreation Month in the Village of Homer Glen, Will County, Illinois.
Trustee Reinders, is there any further discussion on that? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Aye.
Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to 2, consider for approval an ordinance granting 1, a variance to permit an accessory structure in the front yard while accessory structures are not permitted permitted obstruction, and 2, a variance to reduce the required side yard setback for detached accessory structure greater than 750 square feet from 25 feet to 15 feet for certain real property located in the R1 Single Family Residential District at 14624 West 136th Street, Lamont, Illinois, which is within the Homer Glen corporate limits, HG 2511B, with the following conditions. 1, stacking of all firewood as instructed. 2, addition of 3 windows on the new structure. 3, dismantle the old garage and plant grass in the area within 9 months of completion of the new structure. And 4, any outstanding code violations are remedied. Is there a motion? I'm going to call for a motion again.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Mason?
I'll
Is there a
second.
second? Trustee Lepore. All right, Trustee Mason.
There's a lot here to unpack. I was by the home today. It looks like they've done some cleaning up and stacking of the wood. I've made phone calls and had discussion on this with other trustees on this board, discussing this property. A lot of public testimony all during the Plan Commission. One resident was complaining that the street is getting tore up from the traffic on this property. A lot of vehicles in the driveway even today, a truck, some other stuff out there. I saw this, the address actually took me to 136th Street, and it looked very normal from 136th Street. And it was mowed, and you could see what appears to be the back of the house, but it's not. It's a through lot, and a through lot has entrances are both considered front lots. Our own ordinance states if it's a front lot that you should have the ability to go ahead and build it. And I'm not opposed to you doing what you need to on your property, but you know, within constraints. Some of his neighbors had complained that it was a commercial business. That he's using it. It's in a residential area. He added the packages sometimes get delivered to his house because it gets delivered on the 136th Street side. I looked at the drawings. I looked at you know, the entire packet. I went through this. I don't want to keep beating it up, but one resident said that for the last 5 years they needed to maintain and do some other stuff to the property. What else? Plenty also came directly to the village, one on 512. And, you know, I know neighbors shouldn't always determine what you need to do on your property, but I kind of, I'm not opposed to it, but I wish it was in the back off 136th Street is what I would say. He's planning on putting a driveway from the 136th Street side. I believe it would look like it was about 2 acres, maybe a little more, 2.25. I get the reason for him wanting to do it. He has an existing garage that looks like it's needs some help, but he wants to put it in the front side of the house, closer to the house. I get that. The driveway he's proposing to extend all the way through to 106th Street. I just feel like there's so much land behind the house, or I guess the other front yard, that maybe it should be back there. I know there's been issues with ordinances and cleanup and maintenance. Some of the pictures that we're looking at, I saw bobcats out there. I see trailers, trucks, even in the photos here. So if he's looking to store, I'd like to know too, at some point, if the residents here, he'd like to speak, or she. And,
Are you the petitioner? Yes. Okay, you could step up to the podium if you'd like.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Sure, it's Małgorzata Rączka, but I go by Gosha to make your life easier.
You go by what?
Gosha.
Gosha, okay.
Hello, Gosha. Pleasure to see you and meet you. I was actually there today. I drove by with my grandson. I know you have a lot of vehicles. Some are parked on the grass.
Sure.
I saw a bobcat out there. Most vehicles that are parked on the grass need a, how would you say it, a platform, a cement pad, a blacktop. And I see that there's vehicles that are parked out there that are not on that. Is this to alleviate all this traffic?
Correct, because as we came, and thank you again for allowing me to speak before you guys, but as we explained to the plan commissioners, there is, I believe, 6 or 7 adults, that are children, and everybody has a vehicle. My grandmother also lives in this residence, and so nurses come out, healthcare providers, whether it's PT, OT, or a home health aide that comes and stays with her through the Department of Aging. So that's where you have the excessive garages. There wasn't a Bobcat. You're probably talking about the thing that had like a plastic tarp over it. That's a riding mower.
Okay.
Yeah, so because we didn't know that we couldn't have a Bobcat, my uncle used a Bobcat to shovel the driveway when there was snow, but since then, when we were told we can't have that, he removed it. The other thing is, I know you had mentioned about the 2 acres in front of the property.
Yeah.
The plan commissioners told us we cannot. I think there was an issue with the septic tank, and there's a certain amount of space that you need to be away from it. And so they had discussed at the last meeting, not the first meeting, the last one in June, that actually the location that we're proposing is the only ideal location, because the front, there was something within your ordinance that said that we could not do that, because that was brought up by the plan commissioners as well.
I've looked at the plans, and it looks like it's going to be a nice building. Due to hardship, we also have something in our ordinance that you have the ability, and I can find it if I dig in here long enough, but due to our own ordinance, if you have a hardship situation such as a septic field or some delineation of the property itself, then there has been the instances where we grant access. So I understand that. I think that I would pass this with provided you're using the materials that are required, but it states in here that you were going to tear down the other building within 9 months. And I've seen you've had some other violations over, a course of a period of time.
Yes.
And what is to not stop you from not following through with that? I mean, we would have ordinance issues again, but 9 months from now, I'd rather see it, I'd like to pass it with conditions that you take down the other garage first.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we talked about that with the plan commissioners, but we have equipment that's being stored in that garage right now. So we wouldn't have anywhere to put it, so that would put us in more violations.
And I thought you might say that. So the equipment that you're storing there, is this, are you running a commercial business out of there?
So thank you for bringing that up as well. I spoke with Casey when he came out today to take pictures of the whole wood stacking. And he actually works with my uncle, because my uncle does do a lot of concrete work in Homer Glen, so he comes and inspects that work. And this is only administrative work. My uncle runs a concrete business, so there is no piles of rocks. If this was like a plumbing or electrician business, then yes, you can kind of store that kind of equipment in the home. But a concrete business, you don't, because you have gravel, you have all different kinds of rocks and materials, and we use Ozinka or whoever to provide us the concrete. So only administrative work is done. I know that one of the neighbors had complained that there's men there, like 6 or 7 men from 6:30 in the morning till 10:30. Well, like I explained to the plan commissioners, how can you run a business if they're at the owner's home? Concrete business is stuff that they go, whether it's residential, whether it's commercial work that they're doing, so they're never on site. We don't have any equipment because if you can imagine the forms and all of the stamps that we have to use for the concrete business, they're humongous. There's no way they can store this on the property. So this is more stuff of like, I don't know what kind of equipment. My uncle's also a mechanic. That's what was his first job. So he's able to repair cars and other vehicles and boats. So he has that kind of equipment, but nothing to do with the concrete business.
So I did see large boards out there today. I saw a lot of wood, actually. I saw a ladder on the side of the house.
Yes.
Or actually in the front of the house, I
Yes.
guess. And I probably saw a 15, 20-foot board that could have been a form.
No, that's not a form. What you saw was a very thin, what is it called, plywood? And basically, my uncle was repairing the roof of his home, but unfortunately, he could only do that on the weekends, so he still has to do the soffits and the gutters. So that's why the stuff is there. He actually put those boards so that rain doesn't get into the garage, because he needs to repair the garage door on that, so it has nothing to do with concrete business.
Okay. What I was talking about earlier, the zoning code states that for through lots, only such obstructions as herein permitted front yard shall be located in the part of the rear yard adjoining the street that is equivalent to the depth of the front yard, except for backing lots thoroughfares in subdivisions where no access strips have been provided. So it basically states in here that you can't do it. As far as the vehicles go, all vehicles, registration, recreational vehicles, sports vehicles, crafts, trailers, construction, commercial-related vehicles shall be parked on approved hard surfaces consisting of concrete, asphalt, pavers. Is the driveway that you're putting in, are we removing these vehicles from the grassy areas?
Definitely.
All right.
Some of them are going to be in the garage that's going to be going up, and the rest will be outside. The other reason that we want to create this driveway, and Taylor did let us know that previously, I think as she said in 95, there used to be a driveway, but then that previous owner took it out, is not only do packages get delivered, but there was a neighbor that came, and prior to my uncle moving into this property, there was an incident at 2 o'clock in the morning where the police were called, and they showed up at his door. And with my grandma being there, she's very sick, she's 86 years old, we want to make sure that emergency vehicles know where to come, and unfortunately, just like your GPS took you to the front of the property where there is no driveway, those minutes are crucial for them to find. The plan commissioners did tell me to call the dispatch in 911 to let them know, but we've done that several times. I'm not sure what the disconnect is, why they're not marking it that they have to come in through 135th, but that would alleviate that, because it will take you to the front of the house. We'll have that driveway for emergency vehicles to be able to come without any incident.
I think the driveway is a great idea. The only thing, again, I actually think the driveway to 136th Street side is, you're in a cul-de-sac on 135th. So you come down,
Correct.
it's stuck on the end, there's a lot of vehicles, like I said. The neighbors were worried about tearing up the street, construction type equipment.
Sure.
If a business is not being ran out of there, I don't have an issue with it. Again, what you're doing, what you need to do on your property. I'd like to know where the septic field is and how much property is left. So I don't know if Taylor or Mr. Westcott has any of that information, or
That's in here, I just saw it.
Did you see it?
Yeah, it's in there. It says something about they're far enough away from the septic field.
Well, if we put it where we have the plans on, then we're fine. But the plan commissioner also, as well as you, asked about putting it in front of the house, where it is now. But that's where we wouldn't be. Where all that grassy area is, that's where the septic field is, and they checked because that was brought up at the first meeting, so then it was rectified on the second meeting on June, saying that it cannot go in the front, it has to be in the back.
did you see it in there somewhere?
I have this packet's so big, I have to look for it again.
So the whole 2 acres on the back side or the
Yeah.
other front side
Yeah.
cannot be septic field?
No, because we tried. So that was, I believe our first meeting was in May, if my memory serves me correct. That was brought up then. So then, because we needed to fix a couple of things on the property, they moved the meeting to June. And that's when we addressed it, and they apologized to me and said that they were wrong, that it cannot be done in the front.
They're both fronts now.
Right, because it's a double front lot. It can't be where the main grassy area is, where there's no driveway. It cannot be put there because of the septic situation.
So my point is on that, ma'am, is it's 2 acres. Most septic fields are about a 50 to 100-foot span. They don't cover the whole 2 acres.
Sure.
And if you're going to be putting a driveway in from the 136th Street side, again, for emergency and other reasons, and access to both roads, and actually 136th is probably more fluid than it is off 135th. I actually would prefer it if it was on that side, but I know, and unless somebody else can tell me where I missed it, but I didn't see the septic portion of this, but the septic field cannot be the whole 2 acres.
Yeah, I know that I can't speak to because this is what the commissioners told me, so I can't speak to that.
So maybe we need to motion a table until we get a little deeper into this, because I'd like to find that information out.
You have every right to do that. I didn't know if any of the other trustees wanted to speak or ask questions
Absolutely,
first.
please do.
I do have a comment that I need to make. I did read the motion to include the following conditions, the 4 conditions, but in your packet, I just wanted to make sure that you guys include, if you were to pass this or table, that the 4th condition is included, because on your supplement sheet, it's not. So I just
Right.
wanted to make that very clear.
I see the 3, where's the supplement at?
This is it right here. So on the front page, just
Yeah.
for clarification, there's 3 conditions.
3.
But on my agenda, which is not on yours, but it's on mine, I read 4th. The 4th one that's missing is in any outstanding code violations be remedied. So I do have questions, but I want to
Please do.
give the floor to the trustees first, if they have questions, or if they would like me to go first. Mike, trustee Lepore?
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to explain all this, Coach. I really, I was at the property myself as well Tuesday, spoke with, I believe, your son, Mike.
Yes.
Yeah, great guy. My question is in regard to the actual structure you're proposing on building. Seems like you're putting a fireplace attached to that. Is it an
I read that.
exterior fireplace, was it a double-sided fireplace, or?
I believe it's an exterior. It's not a double side where it'll be in the garage. It's just the exterior. You know, we're from the old country Poland, and Grandma wanted one outside so she can sit where it's kind of sheltered. So that's why we're putting it on there.
Okay, so you're not
It's not going to be inside the
providing
garage.
heat to the garage itself?
No,
We're not
no,
trying
no,
to do?
No, no, no.
Okay.
No,
Okay, that's,
only exterior.
all right, very good, thank you.
Does any other trustee want to go? Go ahead, trustee Schaller.
Are you the resident? or
No, it's
just-
my uncle.
Okay.
Yeah, he's at work.
Okay.
That was one of my
It would be important for
questions.
your uncle to be here for these
Right.
meetings.
He came to the other 2 meetings. He was supposed to come, but there was some emergency that happened on a site, so he had to be there. So he does apologize.
As the applicant, did you go through the Will County Health Department to get the plat for where the septic field is located?
We were
I
not
don't see it
asked.
in any of the documentation.
Yeah, we weren't asked to do that, so no.
Is anybody from our engineering department, do we have any of that?
That would be
information?
Brett. Mr. Westcott, do you have any information, or Mr. Gruba?
I don't believe that that's in the plans, is the location of the septic field. We're not seeing it.
I swore I read something that said they were at least a distance away from the septic.
Yeah, there might have been a distance that was noted, but I don't think we have it on the plans.
Okay.
Yeah, on what's given to us here with the plat, and, you know, we have grading issues of what the grade is, but it doesn't show where your septic field is at. And
So
I
the-
agree with trustee Mason that because you have a through yard, 2 fronts, it does not, in my opinion, it lacks a hardship justification unless that septic field is, as you say, the entire 2 acres.
2 acres.
Without knowing that information from the health department of where that's located, you know, it would be in your best interest to probably to table this, to get that information for us so we can actually see where that's located, because this structure is larger than your home.
Yeah, and we're going to make
And
improvements to the
in where
home.
it's located with
Yeah.
the setback variance, it just does not, in my opinion, rise to the hardship that belongs there. Just because other variances have been granted with that, does not, that context does not go to everybody that comes forward with a hardship.
Okay.
So with that, I think it's in the best interest to have that plotted out, to see exactly where that septic field is at, because as trustee Mason said, if you're going to put in that driveway from 136th Street, you would be best served to put that structure in that area there, because your front door is off of 135th, because I went out there also and
Right,
looked. So,
it is.
again, the code is ambiguous on that through lot. And
Sure.
again, how your house placement is, your front, where your front door is off 135th Street, in my estimation, regardless if you have 135th or 136th Street access.
Yeah.
So that's all I have with that. So I hope that this board could confer with that and move forward.
Yeah, and I could definitely do that. I'll contact the Department of Health and get that mapped out. That's not a problem. You know, the other reason that we put it in the back of the property is because of the fact that the front is so clean, and it is just wanting to put that driveway in is to kind of keep the aesthetics like nicer, you know, because that's one of the complaints of the neighbors, is that they don't like the way the property looks. And I know that you had said a little bit earlier about there being some weight on complaints from neighbors. I do want to call out to you guys that this neighbor is notorious for doing that. Unfortunately, she's on the Cook County side, and we're on the Will County side. So you guys won't get any of these reports, but there was a neighbor that is literally adjacent to her west of her property. He also needed a new roof because it was falling apart. She stopped it to the point where he had to actually let the roof collapse, and then they had no other choice but to issue the permit for the redoing of that garage. So these are unsense, you know, they also sat there and said that we had cars lined up on 135th. No pictures were provided. That actually wasn't us. It was the neighbor that is at the end of the cul-de-sac. They had a party because we couldn't even get into our own driveway. So a lot of the stuff that she had complained about is I can't say the word now. It's just not founded. And she also said that Cook County was called out on us, and it was actually incorrect. She came and pushed my uncle, which is the guy that's living there's brother, and he called the police on her, and it was because she pushed him so hard that he fell on the ground. And I'm kind of surprised to see that she's not here today. But all of that stuff is really unfounded, because if that was an issue, then these complaints would have been coming left and right since we moved in.
Was that it? You're done? Do you have anything, Trustee Moore?
The structure itself, I absolutely love. I wish I had room for it on my lot. I do share the same concerns of, I'm familiar with septic systems and and how they're laid out. I would definitely get it staked out.
Okay.
and go that route. Whoever your septic or your uncle, whoever has like a service contract with,
Sure.
they may have it, they can do it, the health department can provide it as well.
Okay.
And I do understand and see some of the neighbors' concerns and complaints. I mean, in the one picture, there's a mini excavator, a box truck. There's a lot of stuff going on all at once. And I would love to say absolutely yes, is everything with them would be put inside, cleaned up, and it would look great and everyone would be happy, but their concerns are definitely valid.
And when those things were brought to our attention that we can't have on the property, my uncle does rent a lot for all of his, you know, backhoes, excavators, bobcats, and all that stuff in Lamont. And so once that was brought to our attention, those things were removed and placed on that lot.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Trustee Reinders?
I have to concur with the rest of the trustees here. I think that there's a lot that we need to clear up here. I mean, the neighbors' complaints, the letters that they've written, I mean, it's like you're running a business out of there, and that these people gather there every morning.
It doesn't happen, it's a lie.
Well, we have more than one person in here saying these things, so.
There's two neighbors, and they're in cahoots with one another. The one neighbor came to both meetings, and because it did not go favorably because of the things that I was saying, because she did not understand that all of the cars were also for the caregivers, then she brought the other one.
So
And-
a box truck is for a caregiver in
No.
all those cars?
So like I had said earlier, with all due respect, is we weren't aware that he can't have a box truck. The other thing that Taylor told us at, I believe it was the first meeting, that we can get a business license because as long as you run an administrative business out of your home, that is permitted. We got that license and it was issued by Homer Glen, and so we are operating under the conditions of that license. The congregating of men, Taylor and Casey both came out on different occasions, and there was never any men. One of the things I told the plan commissioners, if that's the case, if there was men sitting there and saying that they were out there doing whatever all day, where are the pictures? I mean, she took a camera and faced it to our property and took pictures from that and brought it here. And when Cook County came, when she pushed my uncle, and we told her, you have, because he showed us images on his phone. And I said, well, that's coming from a camera because that's not eye level, that's coming from a high place. So he ended up going back to her property and said, you better move that camera because that's a violation of privacy. And she also said that there's police always coming to our property. That is not correct. The 5 years that we've been at this property, never has one sheriff showed up at our property for any complaints.
Well, I just think a lot of cleaning
Yeah.
and a lot of organizing of the property needs to be done before this board could even think about granting a variance for anything else to be built on their property.
And I'm gonna
That's
be
my
honest,
opinion.
and I appreciate your opinion, and some of those pictures are very old, and Casey and Taylor have come out to the property and took new pictures where you don't see the dump truck, the dumpster that we had for the roof when we were repairing it. You don't see the box truck anymore. A lot of the equipment that was there, that like we had a bobcat to shovel the snow, all of that stuff has been removed.
Well, I have to agree with Trustee Mason and the rest of the trustees. I think we need to table this until we can get a clearer picture if the violations are all met, and the violations are all taken care of. So that's my opinion.
I have,
I believe the violations are taken care of at this point. I went out there, looked, they stacked the wood, it's been mowed, it's been cleaned up.
Are
But
the
I
cars
still
still
have
there?
an issue with the septic field, I'd like to know where that septic field is, because it's a big property. And as you state, there's some buildings that are older than the others and whatnot, so I get that. But as Trustee Schaller said, this is a big facility. Trustee, and I don't mean to interject or interrupt, but Trustee Lepore brought up a good point, and I'm looking at this fireplace and it's connected to it. And I see that it could be a double-sided fireplace.
I promise you it's not.
Yeah, okay. And I just want to make sure.
Sure.
But, I mean, I know you said it wasn't, but I see the chimney coming through the roof itself when I look at the plans. And so I'm guessing it's going to be open to the outside.
Correct.
And not the in.
Correct.
So I just think there's a couple things that we need to discuss. I think you should table it. Your uncle should be here. I think
Yeah, he's on his way.
tonight selling it. I think you should be able to do what you need to on your property, but we also have to be good neighbors too.
Sure.
So I think it would be best if we did that. And I'll leave it there.
Sure.
I'm sure the
Okay.
mayor has something.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask a couple of things. Most of the trustees had addressed my questions and the few concerns I have. Mr. Village Manager Baber, are there any current violations outstanding right now?
I don't believe so.
As of yesterday, I'm sorry, Mayor.
No,
As of
please.
yesterday, the
Mr.
last
Gerber.
one was resolved. That was stacking the firewood 1 foot above the ground.
And when was that resolved?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay. You had stated that they're not, I do agree that Mr. Strama should be here, but thank you for coming and taking his
Sure,
place.
he's
for the
en
time.
route, just so
He's
you
en
know.
route. We might be done with it, we might have moved on by the time he gets here, but you did state that you had a business license out of there. So when you have a business license, it's for administration purposes, right? But by the looks of this, as you can agree, that it does look like they're operating an actual business, tangible part outside with the trucks and the way it looks outside. That's just the perception of what it looks like.
Sure.
Right.
I could agree with the perception.
Yes.
But the vehicles that are out there now do not provide that perception because there is a white pickup truck. There might be a gray pickup truck overnight because one of my cousins has a pickup truck. And I think they got rid of the red one. But again, they work in concrete.
Right.
So they're going to have pickup trucks.
Right, understood. I understand that completely. I do agree that If you're saying that these are old photos, Village Manager Baber, do we have current photos that you can provide that apparently Casey had taken?
We do have current photos. I mean, I have them on my computer right now, but they're not printed off. They're recent.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. I do agree with tabling this, but I know that 3 of the trustees that I can hear so far had gone out there. Does the property look comparable to what these photos show? Trustee Lepore?
I'll say that the property does look much better than the photos show.
Okay.
They've done a lot of improvements. They've been working out there. It does show much better. There is still an excessive amount of vehicles out there. On my count, there was 9 vehicles plus a boat on the driveway. No one needs a garage, more than you do. But I would like to see, excuse me, in regards to item number 3 under the dismantled old garage, I understand that I think we're going to be eventually going to make something work here. We'll work something out eventually, but I'd like to see some type of escrow established in order to make sure that garage comes down.
Yeah, so one of the things the plan commissioner said, they wanted a timeline. Our timeline, I know they gave us 9 months. It's going to be down within a month.
Understood. But you've had some prior violations with the village, maybe not following through on things as timely as you should. I'd like to say that, yeah, no problem, it's going to be down to 9 months, but it's hard to establish a line of credit on that issue when so many violations have been issued to this property previously.
Yeah.
To ensure this structure is dismantled, I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves, obviously, because it's, but this, I just would like to make sure that this is not an issue we're revisiting months down the line. Thank you.
And with all fairness, as you've seen the garage, it's pretty much falling apart because one of the plan commissioners wanted us to salvage it. There's really not much to salvage because of the way that it's constructed.
Sure.
It's not salvageable.
Understood.
So when you say go into escrow, what does that mean?
That means you would put up something, a financial commitment that you would be held by the village and released back to you once that garage is taken out.
And what would that amount look like?
We'll have to discuss.
Okay.
So what is currently stored in the existing garage?
I know he's got like these 2 huge cabinets of tools and there's like metal racks and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know because I didn't take an inventory, but I mean, I know that there's just big, tools. I mean, some of his wrenches are like that big.
Understood. So when you have a business as an administration office with a concrete business, I have friends that do concrete business all over. You still have employees that have to come to the administration office for reasons such as paychecks, workers' issues, any other matter. So there can be traffic coming in and out due to the administration office being there. If you were to tell me that this was a secondary administrative office where you said he had another place, a concrete actual place in Lamont, if there was an administrative office there, this might be a little bit more palatable to swallow.
Yeah.
But it does seem to me that there's a little bit of an operation going on there, regardless, especially with the size of the garage. I mean, putting up this large garage, and by the way, it's beautiful, would these vehicles that are outside be stored in there? Or is this vehicle, so all the outside vehicles, the trucks of your cousins?
Because they're not all going to fit.
Right, obviously, but majority of the trucks be stored inside here, where the rest of the stuff that's in the current existing garage would go?
Well, some of the stuff is going to go in the garage that's being built, and so I don't know how he's going to do the storage. But I do want to address one thing. This is a family-owned business.
Right.
A family-owned business of 4 people. My uncle who owns it, his 2 sons that live in the home, and his daughter's boyfriend that also lives in the home.
Understood.
So there is no other employee that does not live on the property.
Oh, okay.
So there is no, that's why when she was sitting there and saying that these men are, there all day, I'm like, what men?
Yeah.
And if anybody does go and help my uncle, it's my other uncle and my dad. Because they were all working in concrete with Vixens, a company that's, I mean, it's gone now, but since the 80s. So he doesn't have employees that are not living in his home.
Right. I mean, I give you credit. I mean, you can't believe everything that everybody says. I mean, if you just read Facebook, there's men in and out of my house all day long. So, I mean,
Well,
you
there
can't
you go.
believe everything you hear.
Exactly.
I mean, I get that people may not, I get that people may not like being your neighbor, and neighbors can, I get it, I understand completely. I'm not your neighbor, you seem like a wonderful person. I think I know your uncle, the name sounds familiar, I'm not really sure. But I I will say, in my opinion, from reading what I'm reading and seeing the photos, the old photos, I have not visited out there, but I take the word of the trustees that are sitting here that have. They said there's been improvements made. I do believe and I agree that they need to table this,
Okay.
especially for the septic field.
Sure.
Have your uncle attend the
I will
next
make
meeting,
sure.
and we'll table it to the next board meeting.
Okay.
Well, this is your motion, you have to make it, but for...
So at this time,
Oh, go
Before
ahead.
you make
Yeah.
that motion, just so I have clarification, so I either need to go to the Department of Health or to the company that tends to our septic tank to map it out. I am also going to reach out to Taylor to make sure that I did not misspeak today and make sure there was no other reason outside the septic tank of why it couldn't go into the front of the property, because there was a lot of discussion, and as you can see how thick the packet is.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that I'm also very transparent in giving you the most accurate, so I will reach out to her because she knows this like the back of her hand, to make sure that there was no other reason why I couldn't go on the side of the property from 136th, since it's both a front lot. Is there anything else that we need to focus on prior to the next meeting?
Can I just say, do we have a full-size site plan or plan of survey?
We don't.
can we?
Can we get one?
We could request that. I mean, they're not, I mean, they do cost a certain amount. I don't know how much for a new survey, unless the applicant does have one.
The one that's included in the packet, just like blueprint size that would be page.
Yeah, so this is the site plan. You want a survey of the property to see what's actually, you know.
No, just this site plan, but blueprint size so you can.
Oh, I'm
actually
sorry, I
read it. 'Cause
misunderstood.
I mean, there is some structure drawn in here. I just can't make out what it is.
Right.
I don't know if that's a
There's
portion.
some numbers I can't read, they're
Right,
so
I don't know if
tiny.
there's a portion of the septic and what we're looking at for grade, it's just,
Mr. Westcott, what did you have to say?
I believe those are planters. You can see them in the picture, one of the pictures on there. It looks like they're just like raised planters. Those two, these,
So I want to reiterate, just because it goes to the next meeting and you get the septic, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pass either.
I
I just
know.
want to be clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to take a moment and talk to Taylor myself about this and find out a little bit more detail, because after reading this the other day and then reading it again, it's a little confusing because there's a lot of back and forth.
Sure.
So walking into today's meeting, I really wasn't 100% sure where it was even being put, because it was side, front, back, it was all over the place.
Correct.
So I would recommend to the board what Trustee Mason had discussed earlier, so I'd be happy to entertain a motion.
We appreciate your candor and your honesty and your willingness to come out and speak to us from your uncle. I will push it. I think another trustee has a question before I do. But I think you should talk to your uncle, because I do think an escrow account's a great idea. That was, to make sure that other one comes down. Please bring something with the septic field at that next
Yeah.
one if possible. We too will talk to Taylor.
Okay.
And again, thank you for being here. Bob, you had something?
Yeah, thank you. Being the spokesperson's never fun to come in front of us. When this home was purchased, was that existing garage that you plan on removing, was that there?
Yes.
Okay. Was there any thought of removing that garage and putting that structure in the existing location of where that other garage
Great
was in?
question. I love that question. Yes, and the plan commissioner said no, because they said, again, Taylor will be able to speak on this better, but I think there's a variance issue because of something with the property line, and that structure would not fit there. So we did ask them about that.
Because it's larger than the
Do you
existing.
remember, because I know you were there. Do you
Yes, I was
remember?
there also. No, I think that the same variance would apply, that it would be in the front yard as well, and it also wouldn't meet the 25-foot side yard setback.
Yeah.
It was for the exact same reasons as now. I think it could go in that location, but also with variances.
Yeah, it's the same variance, same front yard,
Correct.
same setup, opposite side of the house.
Correct.
Yeah, I almost want to say there was a little bit more to that, because Taylor did shut that down when one of the plan commissioners said it.
She knows her stuff, so
She
we...
does, and I don't remember what it was, but that came up and she shut it down for some reason.
Well, we'll take the time and talk to Taylor individually and find out what's going on exactly. Trustee Mason, did you want to entertain your motion?
Yes, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to table
A second.
until the next meeting.
And that was second by Trustee Lepore? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so it's tabled until the next meeting, which is July 26th? I'm totally making that date up.
I believe so.
23rd, July 23rd.
July 23rd. Will I get an email that says that, or
Mr.
with
Baber?
everything that needs to be done?
Yeah, we'll coordinate that through Taylor.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much for your
you.
time, and have a wonderful
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to number 3. Consider approval on ordinance granting, 1, a variance to permit an accessory structure in the front yard where accessory structures are not permitted obstruction. 2, a variance to increase the maximum aggregate square footage of accessory structures from the allowed 1,200 square feet to 2,277 square feet. And 3, a variance to increase the maximum height for an accessory structure from the permitted 15 feet to 17 feet for certain real property located in the R2 Single Family Residential at 13506 West 167th Street, Homer Glen, Illinois, HD 2506B, with the following conditions. 1, the applicant must plant 10 arborvitae or something similar, each approximately 5 feet tall for screening of the building. Is there a motion? Table.
Ma'am, this resident contacted me. I believe he's
Well, you can't
contacted.
have discussion without a motion.
I'll make a motion to postpone until the next meeting, since he is not here.
Can we have discussion
I
on
will
table?
second.
There's no discussion to table.
There's no discussion when you table.
I'm not tabling, I'm postponing until the next meeting.
So, but we won't have any discussion on anything that you're about to
Okay.
say. So it's just vote motion to table, trustee Mason,
Postpone.
or postpone? Well, to the next meeting.
To the next
To the
meeting.
July 23rd. And trustee
And I
Schaller,
second.
second. Trustee Schaller. Okay, there's a motion on the table to table this agenda item, again, to July 23rd. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on to number 4. Consider for approval an ordinance approving a preliminary and final plat of subdivision for certain real property located in the R1 and R3 single-family residential districts at 14509 South Hillcrest Road, Homer Glen, Illinois, 60491, SKIK case number HG2510FP. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Mason?
I'll second.
Trustee Lepore? Trustee Mason?
This was done back in, I mean, this has got some history here. It's been going back and forth for a while. It was passed in 2016. The petitioner did not file a record of deeds with Will County in the 90-day period. And I think basically he's just coming back in front of us to reapproval. He's splitting the lots. One is on Hillcrest and the other one touches Cream Road. I think I came up with 2.25 as far as the acreage goes, and it falls within our ordinance. He is not looking for anything really but to split the lot. We want minimum lot size of 20,000. He's got 43 on the one. We want minimum of 60 on one. He's got 64 on the other. Basically, he covers us. We require a minimum lot depth of 180. He's got 333 on one. 140 is a minimum on the other. Or 225 is what he's got. So I see no issues with this whatsoever.
Trustee Lepore?
Yes, I think trustee Mason summed up pretty well. This is something we're just re-approving, which has already been approved by a previous board. I have no issues at all. Thank you.
Trustee Schaller?
I have no issues.
Trustee Muller?
The same, no issues, they're both large lots.
Is it cream or creme? Let's put this, is it Cream Road or Creme Road?
Cream Road.
Everybody wants to know. But it's got the little dash on the E.
Creme brulee. Does it have a dash?
I don't know, I'm going to do a survey. It's creme. I'm going with creme. All right.
Creme?
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Creme Road.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Aye.
Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 5, consider for approval the construction bid from Earthworks Land Improvement and Development Corporation in the amount of $320,335.75 for the Pine Hill Drainage Improvement Project. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders?
I'll second.
Trustee Muller? Trustee Reinders?
I know that they've had problems out there for many, many years now, and this is, they're working on this, trying to get it resolved. I know some people that live out there, and they've constantly have flooding there, so this is a company that's going to resolve it.
Trustee Muller?
Trustee Reiner summed it up. That was
Pretty
that was
easy.
it. It needs to be done, and they're going to take care of it.
Trustee Lepore?
I have no issues with this.
Trustee Mason?
Problems have been existing for over 36 years, since 1989. Drainage study was done. It was completed, a construction plan was set and developed, and if this alleviates the pains and woes, I don't see why not.
Trustee Schaller.
No issues.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders? Aye. Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 6, consider for approval Allied Engineering, Inc. for construction inspection services for Pine Hill Drainage Improvement Project in the amount of not to exceed $54,800. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Mason?
I'll second.
Trustee Lepore? Any discussion?
You gotta have gotta have the improvement inspected at the end.
Trustee Lepore?
Yeah, it seems like something that needs to be done. No issues.
Trustee Schaller?
No issues.
Trustee Muller?
No issues.
Trustee Reinders?
No issue.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 7, consider for the approval an ordinance amending Chapter 92 of the Village Code establishing a violation for any utility-related company to locate within or otherwise utilize village right-of-way or other property without a franchise license or similar agreement. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Mason?
I'll second.
Trustee Reinders? Trustee Mason?
This is not new. This is something that gives us some oversight and some control over our own infrastructure.
Trustee Reinders?
I agree. This has to do with our infrastructure, and I don't think that anybody should be digging up our easements or anything like that without our permission.
Trustee
Without
Muller?
an agreement.
I agree. It's property that is owned by the village, and I believe it's only right that there is some oversight on it and that we just don't give free rein to the utilities to do what they want.
Trustee Schaller?
I have no issue.
Trustee Lepore?
This only strengthens our position in dealing with an obstacle that concerns our residents most. I'm all for it.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Aye.
Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
I forgot to ask the attorney if he wanted to add a few words.
Yeah, just briefly, I had, in my report, I had discussed the existing code that the village presently has, and what the board has just done is it has said that now it is a requirement. The previous code said that in the village's discretion, it may require public utility companies to enter into agreements of the like. Now, the village board has effectively said that it is a requirement. Secondly, although the code does provide for general enforcement provisions in various positions, for instance, chapters 1, Article 3, and also Section 126 allows for general enforcement provisions. This adoption by the village board also allows for potential equitable relief and also states that it's the finding by this board that continuous violations of this chapter that are continuous with respect to time constitute an unfair or deceptive trade practice under the Illinois Consumer Fraud and Deceptive Practice Acts, which would be a potential vehicle that the village could use in the event a utility-related company refuses to comply with this lawful ordinance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Madam, or we already called the roll. Thank you, Attorney. Number 8, consider for approval a resolution number 25-006, authorizing the execution of a 6-month consultancy agreement with RRB Strategies, LLC, with the goals and the objectives of obtaining federal funds for the construction or acquisition of infrastructure and to support state legislative efforts. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders?
I'll second.
Trustee Lepore? Trustee Reinders?
Mayor, I think this has been a long time coming. I think the village has been behind on getting federal funding and being able to update our infrastructure, to be able to control our infrastructure, to be able to have a voice in Springfield. Just because we're 24,000 people or 24,500 doesn't mean that we don't deserve the same amenities that other municipalities do. And I think this is going to give us a way to be able to work on that, to be able to get funds, to be able to do the things that we need to do for our village.
I agree. Trustee Lepore?
Yeah, I believe the benefit far outweighs the risk on this matter, and I look forward to getting this in motion. Thank you.
Trustee Schaller?
I agree with Trustee Reinders. This is, unfortunately, in these times is necessary to have a voice down in Springfield.
And Washington.
And Washington.
Especially Washington.
Trustee Muller?
It's exactly what I was going to say. Having someone that knows, a firm that knows their way around Springfield and Washington on our side fighting for the residents of Homer Glen is, I think, a win-win and a win.
Trustee Mason?
We have one little typo, otherwise I agree. Trustee Reinders put it perfectly, and so did Trustee Schaller. It's unfortunate we have to have a voice in Springfield, but it's time.
Oh. There's one little spelling
but
error,
you-
but that's just in the supplement, so we're
It's a funny
good.
one, too.
I know. Attorney, did you have anything to add to this, since it all ties in with our
A couple
plan?
things. The village manager, the mayor, and the trustees pretty much have given us direction. When we put this together, this is the public's aware. There is a cancellation clause. In the event that the village board, the executives here feel that the consultancy agreement or that the services being provided just aren't working out, we're just not seeing progress, and sometimes that happens in business, that they have the ability to, with 10 days written notice to terminate the agreement. The facial expiration on this is December 31st of 2025, unless the village or the consultant terminates it beforehand. And that's it.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Muller?
Motion carries. We're going to move on to old business. Does anybody have anything for old business?
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes.
I just wanted to thank Lieutenant Pete Piazza. I could have done it earlier in my report. You gave us a, we appreciate your leadership and everything that you did during the Homerfest and through the 4th. You put together a very comprehensive, detailed plan. You kept us safe. And I did get your report on the traffic and whatnot, and it looks like we're heading in the right direction. So we truly appreciate the Will County Sheriffs and your leadership. Thank you.
Oh, that was nice. Any other old business? I just have one. I know we talked about the juveniles in the grocery stores. I know, again, to piggyback off what Trustee Mason said, I know that you guys are doing a great job with them as well. I understand that we do have some suspects and that they're going to be, have their day in court. So I appreciate everything that you guys have done so far with that. And for the residents that are being harassed, keep up the fight, keep notifying the sheriff's department and the village, and we're going to tackle it one juvenile at a time. New business, anybody got anything for new business? I have one, if nobody else has anything. As you know, we're still one trustee shy of a full board. I know that the board members now had the opportunity to interview the selected few that we narrowed it down. As we welcome Trustee Scheller at the last meeting. Great choice, so far so good. We do have to schedule a special meeting because we had 60 days to appoint the last trustee. I know there were some scheduling conflicts with meeting everybody, but now that we have narrowed it down, we're looking at to have a special board meeting on July 14th or 15th, Mr. Baber?
16th.
No, not the 16th. It cannot be the 16th.
We're looking at either the 14th or the 15th.
Yes. Can anybody do the 14th or the 15th? I need a consensus. What's that? Monday or Tuesday. Anytime.
14th, good.
14th is good.
Actually, both days are.
Same time?
We can pick a time. What time do they meet? 6. That's the only thing that will be on the agenda. So it should be very quick. I don't assume it'd be longer than 15 minutes.
Is the 15th a possibility?
14th or the 15th, which ones you guys prefer. We'd have to actually ask the candidate, but I'm assuming both days will work.
At 6?
What time is your meeting?
6 on Monday.
So why don't we do like,
Meeting at 7 with the,
why don't we do 5:30 on Monday? Does that work for everybody? Oh, not for you? Oh, the 15th. No offense, but we don't need you. I mean, we just need a quorum to make this happen. We'd like to have you here, but if we're going to do a group photo and all that stuff, we could push it to the August meeting. So I just would hate to have all the trustees come, like you guys already have meetings scheduled that day. I'd hate to interrupt another day of your time, so.
Gina said the 23rd for a photo, is what she was saying.
So we can do that.
isn't the
No.
26th the photo?
We could talk about photos in August. Monday, 5:30. Monday, 5:30. Monday, 5:30? Sorry, Nikki. Monday, 5:30? All right, Monday, 5:30, we're going to try to do a special board meeting for the appointment of the new trustee. And there's no workshop today, executive session. Are we going into executive session? Yes? Okay, we are going to, is there a motion to go in executive session for discussion regarding personnel, discussion regarding pending litigation, and discussion regarding executive session minutes? Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Trustee Muller? Trustee Reiners, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Have a good night.